I'm not under any pressure whatsoever. We've never had so much ammunition. Our ships are loaded. I call them locked and loaded. They're locked and loaded. They're ready to go. We have much higher quality equipment than we did when we first started the war.
Central Iran, 58 kilometers east of Isfahan, 2:40 in the morning, 84 U.S. Army soldiers from the 75th Ranger Regiment and 1st SFOD-D were moving into attack positions around an underground IRGC command site. Inside the outer fence, 312 Iranian forces were defending a hardened control room and 22 sealed containers holding 480 kilograms of enriched uranium. The U.S. Army had 2 hours and 35 minutes to seize the material and leave. The site sat under a low ridge beside a service road used only by IRGC convoys. On the surface, it looked like a relay station and fuel yard. Under the concrete pads were a buried command block, a data room, a power chamber, and 2 vaults cut into rock. Iranian forces believed the blast doors, fenced rings, and quick reaction plan made the site untouchable. 3 fence lines, 14 guard towers, 6 bunker positions, and 4 patrol routes protected the compound. Iranian forces had AK-74 rifles, PKM machine guns, RPG-7 launchers, 2 DSHK heavy machine guns, and 2 ZU-23-2 guns. The U.S. Army split into 4 elements. Alpha had 24 Rangers and would break the west side. Bravo had 20 Rangers and would breach the south shaft and kill power. Charlie had 22 Rangers and would take the north barracks and block movement. Delta had 18 operators and would reach the control room, seize the uranium, and pull data before exfiltration. At 2:47, the assault began. Alpha dropped the West Tower guards with suppressed M4A1 SOP Mod 2 fire. Bravo cut the south fence and laid a linear charge on the shaft hatch. Charlie crossed the north ditch and shot out the barracks lights. Delta crawled through a drainage cut toward the east wall. For 18 seconds, Iranian forces heard fire from 3 sides and could not identify the main push. The first Iranian response was slow. 2 sentries ran toward the west gate and went down before reaching cover. A PKM machine gun opened from Bunker 3 and pinned part of Charlie in the ditch. Charlie answered with the M240B and smashed the firing slit. Bravo blew the hatch, dropped into the shaft, and moved down before the dust settled. Alpha cut the gate chain with C4 and seized the west guard post by 2:51. At 2:49, Delta reached the east retaining wall and climbed over. The camera mast was still live. A sniper with a MK-11 Mod 0 shot the camera head, then dropped a tower guard turning toward the sound. Delta stacked on the service door. The lock held for 4 seconds. A shaped charge blew the hinge. Delta entered the utility hall and killed 3 Iranian guards before they could swing a PKM into line. Alpha pushed past the fuel sheds. A DSHK on the motor pool roof opened across the yard. Tracers snapped over the concrete. Alpha went flat behind parked trucks. 2 Rangers ran a Carl Gustav M3 onto a loading ramp and fired once at the shielded gun. The blast threw the crew off the roof. Alpha cleared the motor pool office, marked the west lane, and kept moving toward the admin block. Bravo was already 18 meters below ground. The shaft opened into a narrow pipe corridor with cable trays on both sides. A steel door blocked the turn. Iranian forces were pulling it shut from the far end. Bravo wrapped det cord around the latch and blew it. 1 Iranian soldier fired an RPG-7 down the corridor. The rocket hit the wall and filled the passage with smoke. Bravo kept moving and cleared the bend by 2:54. Charlie hit the barracks at the same time. 12 Iranian forces tried to form a firing line in the north hallway. Charlie answered with an M249 SAW and short rifle bursts. The hallway fell in less than 20 seconds. More guards ran from the sleeping bay into the yard. Charlie pushed them back, took the barracks roof, and turned that angle on Bunker 2. A Javelin missile struck the bunker face and shut it down. At 2:57, the whole compound was awake. Sirens started. Floodlights came on over the inner yard. The IRGC duty officer inside the control room ordered the inner shutters closed and called reinforcements from a base 31 kilometers away. Iranian forces in the North Barracks were already cut off. Iranian forces in the West Lane were under Alpha fire. The only clean route left was the central stairwell leading down to the command block. Delta reached that stairwell first. 4 Iranian guards held the turn with AK-74 rifles and 1 PKM machine gun. Delta threw 2 flash charges, rushed the landing, and killed the gun crew at close range. The stairs ended at a blast door with a keypad and locking wheel. The keypad was dead after Bravo cut the south feeds. Delta fixed a shaped charge to the wheel housing, blew the lock, and crossed into the command level at 3:01. At 3:01, Bravo reached the power chamber. 2 site engineers and 6 guards were trying to start the backup generators. Bravo fired first. 1 guard got a PKM onto a cable spool and hit a ranger in the shoulder. Another ranger rolled a block of C4 behind the spool and detonated it. The blast shredded the position. Bravo burned the generator lines with thermite. Half the underground lights died at once. The blackout changed the fight. Iranian forces had night sights in only 28 rifles. The U.S. Army had night vision across all 4 elements. Alpha used the dark to cross the central lot and take the radio hut. 3 Iranian soldiers fired from the second floor of the admin block. Alpha answered with M4A1 SOP Mod 2 fire and a burst from the MK48 Mod 0. The firing stopped. The radio link to outside commands was smashed. 22 minutes into the operation, Iranian forces tried to retake the West Lane. 40 men moved behind a concrete divider and opened with AK-74 rifles, PKM bursts, and 3 RPG-7 rounds. Alpha did not wait. The Rangers set the MK-48 Mod 0 on a truck hood and ripped into the lead file. A second team fired an AT-4 into the divider. Concrete split apart. 13 Iranian soldiers were left down in the lane. Charlie now held the north roof, the barracks hall, and the north gate. That gave Charlie a full view of the strip between the bunkers and the command stairs. Iranian forces tried to cross it in squads of 8 and 10. Charlie cut them down with the M240B and controlled M4A1 fire. 1 truck loaded with 11 guards raced toward the stairwell. Charlie hit the engine block with a second javelin shot. The truck burned beside the curb. At 3:09, Delta entered the data corridor outside the control room. The hall was only 2 meters wide. Iranian forces had overturned 3 steel cabinets into a barricade. Rifle fire snapped off the walls. Delta went low and fired under the cabinet gaps. 2 defenders fell. Another tried to throw a grenade and was shot before release. Delta shoved a linear charge under the frames, blew a path, and reached the control room door. The control room had the hardest lock in the site. The door was reinforced concrete around a steel core. Iranian forces inside were using the intercom to call surviving guards from the vault hall. Delta packed C4 along the hinge seam and hit the frame twice. The slab dropped inward on the second blast. Delta stormed through at 3:13 and shot the first guard before he could bring his PKM over the center console. Inside were 14 IRGC staff officers, 9 signalmen, and 12 guards. Computer screens still showed camera feeds from the upper yard. Delta answered the first resistance with 27 rounds from 3 MK-18 CQBR rifles. 2 staff officers reached for hard drives near the server rack and were tackled before they could destroy them. Delta seized vault codes, site maps, movement logs, and the lock sequence for the uranium cylinders. At 3:15, Iranian forces launched their strongest counterattack. 52 men from the inner bunker and south tunnel pushed toward the command level through smoke and dark corridors. Bravo met them near the power junction. the first rank fired AK-74 rifles and a PKM in long bursts. Bravo dropped back 9 meters to a hard corner, hit the bend with a claymore from the breach kit, and then surged back with MK-18CQ-BR rifles. The fight stayed close for the next 4 minutes. Iranian forces tried to use dead space between pipes and junction boxes. Bravo threw flash charges into each pocket and finished the movement with direct fire. One Ranger was hit in the thigh, another took fragments in the neck guard. Even wounded, Bravo kept the hallway closed. By 3:19, 31 Iranian soldiers were down in the junction corridor, and the counterattack was broken. Above ground, Alpha and Charlie saw headlights on the East Road. Reinforcements were coming earlier than expected. 6 IRGC trucks and 2 armored pickups were moving toward the outer checkpoint from the highway spur. The U.S. Army had a narrow window left. Alpha shifted 2 teams to the east berm. Charlie moved the M24OB to the north wall. When the lead pickup reached the gate lane, Alpha fired the Carl Gustaf M3 into the grill and blocked the entrance. At 3:21, the second pickup tried to ram through the smoke. Charlie's M24OB cut the windshield apart. The truck slewed into Tower 6 and stopped. Iranian reinforcements dismounted and fired from the roadside ditch with AK-74 rifles and 2 RPG-7 launchers. Alpha used the MK-48 Mod 0 to pin them. Charlie walked rifle fire across the ditch. 20 Iranian reinforcements were left dead or wounded outside the compound. The rest pulled back. Delta used the pause to reach the vault corridor. 2 blast shutters had dropped after the alarm. The first shutter, was only half seated because Bravo had killed the power. Delta wedged a jack under the lip, lifted it 43 centimeters, and slid through one at a time. The second shutter was fully down. A Ranger burned the side track with thermite until the guide bolts warped. 2 men then hauled it aside with a chain winch. The vault was smaller than expected, but packed tight. 22 armored cylinders sat in 2 rows behind wire cages. Each cylinder held sealed material taken from transfer canisters earlier that week. Delta found 480 kilograms of enriched uranium logged in the rack book. The team photographed serials, matched them to the code sheet, fixed lifting collars to the cylinders, and bagged drives, printed orders, and frequency books from the side safe. At 3:27, Bravo linked up with Delta in the vault hall. Together, they built a moving shield around the cylinders and started hauling them toward the east utility ramp. Above ground, Alpha reported the west lane was still open, but the east side was cleaner for exfiltration. Charlie reported more Iranian vehicles massing 3 kilometers out. The U.S. Army had less than 20 minutes before the road net closed around the site. Iranian forces made one last tunnel attack. 14 guards came through the water conduit behind Delta with 2 PKM machine guns and 1 RPG-7. The first gunner opened from the dark and hit the wall above the cylinder carts. Delta spun and answered with MK-18CQ-BR fire. Bravo dropped a flash charge into the conduit. When the light burst hit, a Ranger stepped up with the M249 SAW and swept the pipe mouth clean. By 3:33, the objective was seized. The control room was in U.S. Army hands. The vault was cleared. 22 armored cylinders, 16 hard drives, 9 paper binders, 4 coded radios, and 2 encrypted field servers were loaded for removal. Bravo placed thermite on the generators and server racks. Delta planted C4 on the vault cranes and door motors. Alpha and Charlie crushed the last firing points around towers 4, 5, and 7. At 3:36, the demolition charges fired below ground. The generator room burned. The server room melted into slag. The vault cranes collapsed across the tracks. One final group of 17 Iranian forces tried to rush from the admin block to the east ramp. Alpha met them with M4A1 SOP Mod 2 fire, while Charlie hit the rear of the line with the M24OB. The attack died, in less than 30 seconds. No organized resistance remained. Extraction started at 3:39. The first two transport trucks rolled through the west gate while Alpha covered the yard and Charlie held the north roof. Bravo and Delta brought the last cylinders up the utility ramp on heavy trolleys. Iranian forces outside the wire opened long-range fire from the east road, but the shots were late and wild. The U.S. Army loaded the final container by 3:47 and set timed charges across the compound. At 3:50, the convoy pulled away in Blackout Drive. 4 minutes later, the charges went off behind it. Towers folded, bunkers cracked open, the radio hut vanished in flame. Fuel tanks burned through the roof of the motor pool. Reinforcing Iranian forces reached the outer road at 3:58 and found only wreckage, bodies, and a command site burning from the inside out. The mission had lasted 1 hour and 11 minutes. Iranian commanders on broken radios never regained control of the site, the road, or the timeline. The U.S. Army lost 3 killed and 9 wounded. Iranian forces lost 96 killed, 84 wounded, and 71 captured. The U.S. Army seized 22 uranium cylinders holding 480 kilograms of enriched uranium, 16 hard drives, 2 encrypted servers, 4 coded radios, and site records tied to IRGC transport routes. Destroyed Iranian equipment included 2 Zu-23-2 guns, 2 DSHK heavy machine guns, 3 bunkers, 6 towers, 8 trucks, 2 armored pickups, 1 radio hut, 1 power chamber, 1 server room, and vault handling gear worth an estimated $148 million. Iran believed the buried control room, layered fences, and rapid reaction plan made the site untouchable. What actually happened was a 71-minute assault that broke the garrison, took the uranium, and erased the command system before reinforcements could matter. Iranian forces had numbers, bunkers, steel doors, and warning time. What they did not have was 84 U.S. Army soldiers willing to break into the heart of the site and carry the mission out under fire.